Hare Krishna. Good morning. Here in person we have Narayan Prabhu. We are from Chandra Prabhu and Bhakta Eze and Damayanti is here and Bhakti Brielle. And then online we have Bhakta Drew and Gajendra Prabhu, Parampara Prabhu, Bhakta George, Bhakti Kim, Ladini Shakti Prabhu, Dau Krishna Prabhu, Dau Brahma Krishna, Dau Brahma. And we have Dear Govinda Prabhu and Bhakta Kiss and Hare Krishna, Lakshmi Priya Prabhu. This is Malini Devi Dasi, and I'm going to read from the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. And we are going to read from the chapter 7, Spiritual Incarnation with Specific Purpose. And we are on text 38. Yari Ala Yesu Api Satam Na Are Kata Syu Pashandina Vijajana Vishalam Nideva Swaha Swada Vasat Iti Sma Gira Na Yatra Shasta Bhavishyati Kale Bhagavan Yuga Ante Ya la yesvapi satam na aren katasyu Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Swadava Shaditi Smagiro Nayatra
Swaha Swadhava Shaditi Smagiro Nayatra
Shasta Bhavishyati Kale Bhagavan Yugante
Shasta Bhavishyati Kale Bhagavan Yugante
Ya la Yeshu Apisatam Nak Are Katashu
Ya la Yeshvapi Satam Nahare Katashu
Pashandino Dvijajana Vishalani Deva
Pashandino Dvijajana Vishalani Deva
Swaha Swadava Shamiti Smagiro Nayatra
Swaha Swadhava Shaditi Smagiro Nayatra
Shasta Bhavishyati Kale Bhagavan Yugante
Shastra Bhavishyati Kale Bhagavan Yugante
Ya la Yeshvapi Satam Na Are Katashu
Ya la Yeshvapi Satam Nahare Katasyu
Pashandino Dvijajana Vishalani Devam
Pashandino Vijajana Vishalani Deva
Swaha Swadava Shaditi Smagiro Nayatra
Swaha Sadhava Shaditi Smagiro Nayatra
Shasta Bhavishyati Kale Bhagavan Yugante
Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante Yadhyālayeshvapi satam nahare katasyu
Yayalayeshvapi satam nare katasyu
Ashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Swaha swadava shariti smagiro nayatra
Swaha swadava shariti smagiro nayatra
Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante
Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante
Yayalayeshvapi satam nahare katasyu
Yayayaneshvapi satam nakare katasyu
Pashandino vijajana vishalani deva
Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Swaha swadana vashariti smagiro nayatra
Swaha swadava shriti smagiro nayatra
Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante
Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante Yayalayeshvapi satam nare katasyu Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva Swaha swadava shariti smagiro nayatra Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante Yayalayeshvapi satam nahare katasyu Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva Swaha swadava shariti smagiro nayatra Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante Yayalayeshvapi satam nakare katasyu
Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva Swaha swadava shariti smagiro nayatra Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante Anyone online would like to sing? Chant?
Yayalayeshvapi satam nahare katasyu
Yayalayeshvapi satam nahare katasyu
Ashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Ashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Mahasvadavasat iti smagiro nayatra
Swadava shariti smagiro nayatra
Shasta bhavishyati kaler bhagavan yugante
Shasta bhavishyati kale bhagavan yugante
Yayalayeshvapi satam nahare katasyu
Yayalayeshvapi satam nahare katasyu
Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva
Swaha Svada Vashariti Smadhiro Nayatra.
Swaha Swada Vashariti Smagiro Nayatra.
Shasta Bhavishati Kale Bhagavan Yugante.
Shasta Bhavishyati Kale Bhagavan Yugante. Yahi,
Yari.
when it happens,
When it happens,
Allah Yesu,
Allah Yeshu,
in the residence of
in the residence of
Api,
Api,
even
even
Satan,
Satan,
civilized gentlemen,
civilized gentlemen,
now,
Now.
no,
no,
Are,
Hare,
of the personality of Godhead,
of the personality of God,
Kata,
Kata,
topics,
puppets,
Su,
Su,
will take place.
will take place.
Pashandina,
Vashandina,
atheist,
atheist,
Vijayana,
Vijayana,
person declaring themselves to be the higher three classes, Brahman, Kshatriya, and Vaishyas.
persons declaring themselves to be the higher three classes, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas.
Vishala,
Vishala,
the lower class Shudra.
the lower class Shudras.
Nrideva,
Nideva,
ministers of the government.
ministers of the government.
Swaha,
Swaha,
aims to perform sacrifices.
means to perform sacrifices.
Svada,
Swadha,
the ingredients to perform sacrifices.
the ingredients to perform sacrifices.
Vasat,
Vashat,
the altar of sacrifices.
the altar of sacrifice.
Iti,
Iti,
all these.
all these.
Sma,
Sma,
shall,
shall,
gira,
gira,
words,
words,
now,
na,
never,
never,
yatra,
yatra,
anywhere.
anywhere.
Shasta,
Shasta,
the chastiser,
the chastiser,
Bhavishyati,
Bhavishyati,
will appear,
will appear.
Kale,
Kale,
of the Kali age,
of the Kali age.
Bhagavan,
Bhagavan,
personality of Godhead,
personality of Godhead.
Yuga Ante,
Yuga Ante,
at the end of.
at the end of.
Translation. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yoga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residences of so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hand of ministers elected from the low-born Shudras class, and all those less than all those less than them, and when nothing is known to of the techniques of sacrifice, even by words, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser. Jai. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The symptom of the worst condition of the material world at the last stage of this stage called Kali Yoga are stated herein. The sum and substance of such a condition is godlessness. Even the so-called saints and higher caste of the social order, generally known as the Dvija Janas, or the twice born, will become atheistic. As such, all of them will practically forget even the holy name of the Lord, and what to speak of his activities. The higher castes of society, namely the intelligent class of men guiding the destinies of the social orders, the administrative class of men guiding the law and order of the society, and the productive class of men guiding the economic development of the society, must all be properly well versed in knowledge of the Supreme Lord, knowing factually his name, quality, pastimes, entourage, paraphernalia, and personalities. The saint and the higher caste or order of the society are judged by their proportion of knowledge in the science of God or Tattva-gyan, and not by any kind of birthright or bodily designations. Such designations, without any knowledge of the science of God and practical knowledge of devotional service, are considered to be all decoration of a dead body. And when there is too much inflation of these decorative dead bodies in society, there develop so many anomalies in the progressive, peaceful life of the human being. Because of the lack of training or culture in the upper section of social orders, they are no more to be designated as the Dvijajanas, the twice born. The significance of being twice born has been explained in many places in these great literatures, and again, one is reminding that birth executed by the sex life of the father and the mother is called animal birth. But such animal birth and progress of life on the animal principles of eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating without any scientific culture of spiritual life is called the Shudra life, or to be more explicit, the uncultured life of the lower class of men. It is stated herein that the governmental power of society in the Kali Yuga will pass over to the uncultured, godless laborer classes of men, and thus the Nidreva, or the minister of the government, will be the Vishala, or the uncultured lower man of society. No one can expect any peace and prosperity in a human society full of uncultured lower classes of men. The symptoms of such an uncultured social animal are already in vogue, and it is the duty of the leaders of men to take note of it and try to reform the social order by introducing the principle of twice-born men trained in the science of God consciousness. This can be done by expanding this culture of Srimad Bhagavatam all over the world. In the degraded condition of human society, the Lord incarnates as a Kalki avatar and kills all the demoniac without mercy. Om Agyanati Merandasya Gyanachala Shalakaya Shakshun Militan Tasmai Shri Goave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, my spiritual master. Darkest of ignorance, my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Shri Chaitanya Madhubhistam Shtapitam Yena Bhutali Swayam Kadamayam Datati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Gu Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gu Vaishnavam Sham Shri Rupa Sagajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitas Shri Krishna Chaitanya Divan Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vidam Cha E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gauranga Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Yaripriye Vansha Kalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paskacha Desatari. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residencies of the so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, And when the power of government is transferred to the hands of ministers elected from the low-born Shudra class, or those less than them, and when nothing is known of the techniques of sacrifice, even by words, at that time the Lord will appear as a supreme chastiser. Hare Krishna. The cover of this second chapter, second canto, part 2, is the Lord, and I want everyone to see his horse, his white horse Devadatta, and the Lord called Kalki Avatar is the last avatar in the Yuga avatar. He come at the end of the Kali Yuga. And reading the verse and purport, two things came to me. First, first one thing that came to me is that it's difficult to conceive that the Kali Yuga is going to be worse. Because what's presented here is like, yes, what's new, you know, like people, like leaders that are Shudra, elected by Shudra, a godless civilization that's not aiming at self-realization, governments that are plunderers, trying to steal from the people. I say, okay, well, what's different about the end of Kali Yuga? It seems that's already there, and Srila Prabhupada says that. He said it's already in vogue. And a few other things came to me. A few other things came to me. And one thing that comes very clearly to me is the responsibility to delay the age of Kali, to really delay the age of Kali. Srimad Bhagavatam is a literature that Srila Prabhupada indicates is going to support people from getting degraded more and more in Kali Yuga. So we know Bhagavatam, we know the person Bhagavatam. And that means that we have so much responsibility to delay the onslaught of the age of Kali. And it is said that there is a golden age that started with Lord Chaitanya's advent. Lord Chaitanya is not described in this creature incarnation, and that Kali, that golden age is supposed to last for 10,000 years. So 10,000 years is not much, because the full length of Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. So 10,000 years is just like a small little piece, and we are only in Kali Yuga for 5,000 years. So if we remember when we completed at the end of the first canto, we heard from Yudhishthira Maharaj that he was feeling all the omens, all the signs that Lord Krishna departed from, you know, to go back to his planet, and departed from the planet Earth. And there was all those signs of Kali Yuga. Yudhishthira Maharaj is describing like the howl and all those omens and the darkness. And he said, and even petty quarrel between husband and wife. It's like, how is that possible? How is that possible that such a thing is happening? And so Yudhishthira Maharaj is describing, and already when reading the description, and it's just the beginning of Kali Yuga, it's a scary place. It's a very, very scary place. And so we are going to read. I'm going to read the end of Kali Yuga, just for us to get conscious of the emergency.
Are you going to spoil it for us? Are you going to spoil the end of Spoiler alert. Just,
I'm going to spoil it for you.
Then we don't have to stick around to find out.
You don't want to stick around. There is something that attractive at the end of this Kali Yuga. So there is something very attractive. Something that almost I'm thinking, wow, that will be really far to live through that. But I don't know, because there's so many other things to live through in order to be privileged to have that experience at the end of Kali Yoga. So I'm going to read a series of verses. It's found in the second chapter of the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam. So Shukadev Goswami said, "Then, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali." So the other day we spoke about the 4 pillars of religion, like austerity, there is cleanliness, there is mercy, compassion, non-violence, and then truthfulness. And now in the age of Kali, already 3 of them are cut. Like the bull, he had 3 legs, and he was only standing on 1 leg, is truthfulness. So here, Sukadev Goswami explained, I'm going to read it again. Then, O king, so Sukadev Goswami is speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. Like, let's really hear it, because already we have so many signs of that. O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will be all diminished day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali. And if I look at myself, I don't find any of those qualities in myself. Even so, like out of this causeless mercy, Srila Prabhupada kind of grabbed me out of the ocean of nations and by his mercy kind of allowed me to be in contact with this process, to be in contact with the devotees, to be in contact with the holy name, to be in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam. I can see, like, yeah, I don't have religion in me, definitely not. Truthfulness, and cleanliness, definitely not. Tolerance, very short fuse. Mercy, no. Duration of life, I don't think Kali Yoga anyone has that. And physical strength, no, I couldn't even carry the box out of my car the other day. Now I had to do it. Memory, no. During my spiritual life, even recently, I memorized so many verses. I have a pile of cards. It's about like that. It's all verses that at one point or another, I knew them. And they're all gone. No memory. In other ages, people could hear something once and memorize it. And I repeated those verses so many times. And I knew them at some point. And they're all gone. So no memory. So the power of Kali Yoga. So that's verse 1. And the verse 2 read, in Kali Yoga, wealth alone will be considered the sign of a man's good birth. Proper behavior and fine qualities, and law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power. So we can already see that, that is a society really that money is everything. Like, it's really difficult to not be carried away by that stream of like, my self-worth is my net worth, that stream of consciousness, that in order to be valuable, in order to matter, in order to be someone important, I need a net worth. I need a bank account, a fluffy bank account. So we can see that the age of Kali, we can see so much of that consciousness is in the air, and it's a lot of pressure. I see many of my clients, they want that. And if we stay with them and look behind that, it's really connected with my worth. Because unless I have a fluffy bank account, unless I do well in the world, I don't have any value, because that's what the society value. Like we have a president right now on the United States. Wow, he's very powerful because he's very wealthy, and he led him to be in the head of the government because he is very, very wealthy. And now most of the government, yeah, it's the more wealth you have, the more chance you have to be a president of the United States or country like the United States. So we can see already how money is power, and through power, justice is made. Like people who have money, they have more chance to not be in trouble with justice than those who don't have money. So that's another sign of Kali Yoga. Yeah. Wealth alone will be considered a sign of a man's good birth, proper behavior, and fine qualities. This is so nauseating to think of that. That's wealth alone will be proper behavior and fine quality. And so much of that is already in action. So much like, oh, this person is doing so well in business. Businessmen are worshipped right now. I know so many people who worship those who are successful in business. If they have like the 7-figure, whatever that's called, this is worshipable. This is God. This is a very important person if they have a 7-figure income. Who can be more worshipable than this person? Who can be more attractive than this person? I want to be like him. I want to be like her. I want to be the one who's like has the power of the money. And yes, that's a society of Vaishya. Vaishya, that's what we worship, Vaishya mentality. How to cheat, to make money through business. So Kali Yoga is going to continue in that direction that we already feel very much. And then text 3 reads, men and women will live together mainly because of superficial attraction, and success in business will depend on deceit. On what? On deceit. So men and women will live together mainly because of superficial attraction. So that's not true right now. And success in business will depend on deceit. Womanliness and manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex. And a man will be known as a Brahman just by his wearing a dress. Fun, huh?
A little too nail on the head.
A person's spiritual position will be ascertained merely according to external symbols. External symbols, we can all decide. And on that same basis, people will change from one spiritual order to the next. What gets me the most admiration, that's what I should do. A person's property will be seriously questioned if he does not earn a good living. That's a scary one. Like if we are not rich and we possess, we have something, we own something, we are going to be questioned. That's really a scary one. And one who is very clever at jungling words will be considered a learned scholar. So we can see that, people who are jungling words and are good with those words, somehow they are considered like, wow, he's so intelligent and he must be a scholar. He must know the absolute truth. Continue past text 5. A person will be judged unholy if he does not have money, and hypocrisy will be accepted as virtue. Marriage will be arranged simply by verbal agreement, and a person will think he is fit to appear in public if he has merely taken a bath. So cleanliness is gone, marriage, commitment, agreement is gone. Already like most society. I know in France, when I was there, most people are not married. They live together, but marriage is kind of, the institution of marriage is so gone. In France, it's kind of a atheist country and it's very gone there. Text 6. A sacred place will be taken to consist of no more than a reservoir of water located at a distance, and beauty will be thought to depend on one's hairstyle. Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, that's Lord Brahma speaking. No, it's Sukadev Goswami. But anyway, yeah. So hairstyle. Hairstyle is beauty. Remember that. So filling the belly will become the goal of life, and one who is audacious will be accepted as truthful. That's also. One is audacious, like take risk and like that will be accepted as truthful. I can see that within me. I can see that tendency. He who can maintain a family will be regarded as an expert man. And it's already true, I admire he who maintains the family is going to be considered an expert man. And we can already see that. Prabhupada said in Kali Yoga, in a modern age, it's so difficult to just maintain a family. It's so hard work, so much hard work in Kali Yoga to just maintain a family. So, and that will be just enough. Like just doing that will be enough because it will be more than what the rest of the society is doing. And the principles of religion will be observed only for the sake of reputation. Like, that's reputation. As the earth has become crowded with the corrupt population, whoever among any of the social classes show himself to be the strongest will gain political power. Losing their wives and properties to such avaricious and merciless rulers who will behave no better than ordinary thieves, the citizen will flee to the mountains and forests. Harassed by famines and excessive taxes, people will resort to eating leaves, wood, flesh, wild honey, fruits, flower, and seed. Stuck by drought, they will become completely ruined. When I read that verse, I really thought, of course, it's a situation here. There is a lot more and more homelessness in America. But I was thinking of North Korea. This describes so much North Korea. How like the ruler are plunderer and they abuse and use the citizen. And most of them, they are not even receiving food. They have no food and they eat human flesh because they have nothing else or roots, whatever they find. So it's like Kali Yoga is, the degree of advancement depends on where we are. But there is places where it's already so much exactly, what's happening there is so much what is described at the end of Kali Yoga. The citizen will suffer greatly from cold, wind, heat, rain, and snow. They will be further tormented by quarrels, anger, thirst, disease, and severe anxiety. So we can see that already, so much anxiety. Like the biggest business right now is pharmaceutical business. And so much of the pharmaceutical business is about anxiety medicine. So quarrel, so much quarrel, like that's the age of Kali is called the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, because we quarrel for about anything or like nothing really. We quarrel out of thin air very easily. The maximum duration of life for human being in Kali Yuga will become 50 years. By the time the age of Kali ends, the bodies of all creatures will be greatly reduced in size, and the religious principle of followers of the Varnashrams will be ruined. The paths of the Vedas will be completely forgotten in human society, and so-called religion will be mostly atheistic. The kings will mostly be thieves. The occupation of men will be stealing, lying, and needless violence. And all the social classes will be reduced to the lowest level of Shudra. Cows will be like goats. Spiritual hermitages will be no different from mundane houses, and family ties will extend no further than the immediately bond of marriage. It's already there, you know, family ties. I know that's my reality, like not even bond of marriage, just about me. Where I am at. Most plants and herbs will be tiny, and all trees will appear like dwarf family trees. Clouds will be full of lightnings, home will be devoid of piety, and all human beings will have become like asses. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear on the earth, acting with the power of pure spiritual goodness. He will rescue eternal religion. Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master of all moving and non-moving living beings, and the supreme soul of all, take birth to protect the principle of religion and to relieve his saintly devotees from the reaction of material work. Lord Kalki will appear in the home of the most eminent Brahman of Shambhala village, the great soul Vishnu Yasha. So here, Srila Prabhupada, when he speaks about incarnation, he gives that example a lot. He speaks about how we cannot make up incarnation. There is so many incarnations of God in India. Some people claiming to be avatar, claiming to be an incarnation of God. But the incarnation of God, they are predicted. We know the place where God is going to be born. We know the Father's name. We know something about it. So we cannot manufacture an incarnation. And Srila Prabhupada often gives the example of Kalki, how is predicted in a Shastra, and the name of his village and his father is already predicted. Lord Kalki, the Lord of the universe, will mount on his swift horse Devadatta. That's his horse. Again, I'm showing the picture.
Jai.
On his white swift horse Devadatta, and sword in hand, travel all over the earth, exhibiting his 8 mystic opulences and 8 special qualities of Godhead, displaying his unequal effulgence and riding with great speed. He will kill by the millions those thieves who have dared to dress as kings. After all the impostor king have been killed, the residents of the cities and town will feel the breezes carrying the most sacred fragrance of the sandalwood paste and other decoration of Lord Vasudeva, and their mind will thereby become transcendently pure. So they were plundered, they were eating flesh, they were so tortured, but then that's in that great suffering, Lord Kalki will come and kill everyone, and just by his presence on earth, those were somehow still pious, they will feel themselves carried by the aroma of sandalwood and the decoration, and their mind will thereby become transcendently pure. And when Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in their hearts in his transcendental form of goodness, the Romanid citizen will abundantly repopulate the earth. So there is some people stay at the end of Kali, and those special people that are going to be saved by Kalki, they are going to feel their spirit coming to the mode of goodness, and they are going to start to repopulate the earth. When the Supreme Lord has appeared on earth at Kalki, the maintainer of religion, Satya Yuga, will begin, and human society will bring forth progeny in a mode of goodness. So there is a happy ending. Hare Krishna. So I have so many places I could go, and yeah, there is so many places. I prepare so much material, but I want to go to a conversation I had with a friend not so long ago. And I had a conversation with a friend who was speaking about some kind of religious group. And that religious groups, they are really focused and maybe obsessed with Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Armageddon. Armageddon. Armageddon. And Armageddon is in the Bible. It's it's part of the Bible as the end of the world. And in that group, they do believe that the people who are going to focus on God are going to be saved, and everybody else is going to be destroyed. So we can see that the last verse that we read, it was about the sub-religious principle. And in the sub-religious principle, there is like truthfulness and all those qualities. And we can see also that sometimes some religious groups, they have some truth. They may not have the big picture. And the Bhagavatam illuminates us in Kali Yoga to give us the full picture of what will happen. And according to Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not going to happen today or tomorrow or in the next 10 years. It's going to happen exactly around 427,000 years. That's when it's going to happen. So we have time. I will tell my friend to tell the person she knows that there is time. only 427,000. And yes, everyone is going to be killed who is not God conscious. And Srila Prabhupada here in the purport, he make it very simple, godlessness. If the ruler, if the life of people is just lived for activities that are there available for the animals, or babies are like created like animals to sex only, then the eating, mating, sleeping, and defending doesn't have a purpose anymore. It doesn't have a purpose, because the purpose of all cosmic manifestation is self-realization. So if human beings come to that place, and it reminds me of a conversation I had with my stepmom, and she was really listening to one of those intellectuals who know world of jugglery and can make everybody surrender to him. In France, he's very famous. I don't remember his name, but basically he speaks, he has a podcast, a lot of people listen to him, and he said, Earth can exist without human beings. Human beings are destroying themselves. They are going to continue to destroy themselves, and Earth will continue to exist. And why do we think that Earth should exist with human beings? And it makes sense, like, okay, like that's the philosophy. So she was like, yeah, why do we think that human beings are so important? And I can see some truth there, that for us to go to a place of feelings, I'm the crown jewel of creation, it's probably not very helpful for spiritual life. And at the same time, to imagine a creation that just functions for this functioning and no other purpose, it kind of seems ludicrous, like not making sense to my mind, that there will be something functioning just for the sake of functioning without any purpose, and something so well organized. So so we can see that there is different philosophy going around, and that the human being, in fact, the human form of life, is a rare opportunity. And in that rare opportunity, we have a choice to make, to choose to live like animals, and under the jurisdiction of the external energy of the Lord, Maya, illusion, or to choose Krishna. And the way to choose Krishna in Kali Yoga, my understanding from reading what we just read, and from my reading of different bhajan, I have so much I wanted to read. I have 4 books here I didn't even touch. But is our qualification is that we don't have any qualification. And I'm going to read something about that.
Today can be part 1. You can do part 2.
Yeah, I will be joyful to do part 2. But yeah, Kali Yoga There is no qualification in Kali Yoga. No qualification. We, like austerity, this morning we were reading before japa, like how, Prabhupada says so simple. You get up in the morning, chant 16 rounds, take a bath, and Prabhupada said, you're not even asked to do austerity or sacrifice or anything difficult, but even that is so difficult. We are so challenged to chant 16 rounds a day, to get up early at 4 a.m. in the morning or 4:30. So one qualification in Kali Yoga to surrender to Krishna, which is Prabhupada, like there will be no guidance to surrender, seems to be, from what I'm seeing and understanding from different bhajan and different places, is to feel unqualified. That's the first qualification. And it should be easy when we read those descriptions or the description of King Yudhishthira, and we look at our life, we all laugh because it seems like, yeah, that's what's happening in my life. Yeah, that's what's happening around. If we realize where we are born in this Kali Yoga, if we realize what's happening around us, if we look at the size of the trees and the vegetables, if we look at the food, if we look at the air, if we look at the water, if we look at this body that we are incarnated in, if we look at our mind, if we look at our behavior, if we look at our relationship, if we look at every aspect of our life, then it should be easy to realize that we are not qualified. We have no qualification. And it should be easy to be super humble. But somehow it seems that the opposite happened. That's the plunderer, and the more money they have, the more puffed up they are, and the more they want to abuse and oppress people. So it seems to, like, the qualification, to the degree we are qualified, to the degree we are feeling unqualified, and to the degree we are unqualified, to that degree we feel we are qualified, and we get past that. So that's dichotomy we are dealing with spiritual life. I just want to read one. I have so many things, but one verse from a song I've been singing daily. I'm going to sing it for you, just for your pleasure. Hagatvam samsaram dutataram asharam surapate agatvam papanam vitatim aparam yadavapate audinenateni itacharano nichitamidam Jagannath Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me. So this verse says, O Lord of the demigod, please quickly remove this useless material existence I am undergoing. O Lord of the Yadus, please destroy this vast, shoreless ocean of sins. Alas, this is certain. Lord Jagannath bestow his lotus feet upon those who feel themselves fallen and have no shelter in this world but him. So it doesn't say upon those who are very austere, or those who are very flashy, or those who have a lot of money, or those who do a lot of austerities. He said, surely upon those who feel themselves fallen and have no other shelter in this world but him. So yes, this is the end of Kali Yoga described here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Lord, so merciful Lord, because he sees, like, yeah, there is no much opportunity, like things are going down, this ship is sinking more and more. And when that's like that, and there is, like, people are so oppressed, so surrounded by the mode of ignorance, tamas is pervading, and then the Lord, out of his causeless mercy, he comes and he kills by millions, kills with a sword by millions. And then those who have a heart of feeling themselves unqualified to be with the Lord, they feel themselves uplifted to the mode of goodness, and that's the start of Satya Yuga, with everyone giving birth to people in the mode of goodness. Hare Krishna. Unfortunately, I'm going to stop here because it's time to stop. I could speak for another few hours, but I'm going to stop here. Hare Krishna. I'm going to read the verse again, and we can have some question, comments. Yarya la yeshva pisatam na'arer katashu Pashandino dvijajana vishalani deva Swaha swadava shaditi smagiro nayatra Shasta bhavishyati kaler bhagavan yugante. Thereafter, at the end of Kali Yuga, when there exist no topics on the subject of God, even at the residences of the so-called saints and respectable gentlemen of the three higher castes, and when the power of government is transferred to the hand of ministers elected from the low-born Shudra class and those less than them, and when nothing is known of the technique of sacrifice, even by words, at that time the Lord will appear as the supreme chastiser. I just want to read one more verse that I prepared that I really like. He said, Krishnesve Dhammopagate Dharmagyana Dibisaha Kalau Nasta Drishaisha Puranako Dunoditaha. This Bhagavad Purana is as brilliant as the sun, and it has arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied by religions, knowledge, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in this age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So that's our Savior, Lord Krishna. When he left the planet, he left us the Srimad Bhagavatam. And yeah, we are lost in the darkness of ignorance. Everything around us is tamas and raja. So by taking shelter of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the person Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada, we have a chance by us feeling unqualified, fallen, like Dina Krishna Dasikoi. Dina Krishna Dasikoi, this fallen, lonely servant praise may always swim in the love of Shri Radha Govinda. Again and again, all the bhajan, our qualification is to feel fallen. So by feeling fallen like that, we can take shelter and surrender and know that we have no qualification. And the light of the Purana, the light of the Bhagavatam is going to guide our way like a trail, with the offals, there is like the yellow brick road. So the light of the Bhagavatam is our yellow brick road. It's light, the light, and we can follow it all the way to the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, any comment, question, challenges?
Question.
Yes.
You said at the beginning of this talk that if you were like privileged enough to like one day be witness to this Armageddon, basically, why did you say it like that?
Because happy ending, to see the Lord in his beautiful form as Kalki, and then feel that emergence. You like the word emergence of goodness within and without, and see the beauty of Satya Yoga coming. There is an attraction there. Of course, I don't want to be caught with that attraction, but there is something very beautiful at the end, and there is so much hell contained in that, like really hellish condition, the most hellish condition, like where a person is not going to own their clothes if they are not wealthy. They are not going to be able to be fed. They are not going to be, instead of being protected by the government, they are going to be plundered by the government and suffer atrociously. So it's a high price to pay. And I don't want to stay around outside of the golden age. But if Krishna wants me to serve in that way, if Krishna wants me to come back again and again, then and serve, that will be also beautiful. Yes.
When does the golden age start?
It began with the golden avatar, Lord Chaitanya, about 500 years ago. And it's
So
going
that
to
period
go.
of time between the beginning of Kali Yuga and the golden age, what was that? Was that?
Yeah, it's 4,500 years after Krishna left. It's like a transition between Dwapara Yoga and Kali Yoga. Kali Yoga is kind of degrading and establishing itself. So my sense is that it's also the golden age. But
People were still able to experience self-realization.
some people, but we can see like the degradation of the Brahman started with Srini, and Srini is the Brahman boy who cursed Maharaj Parikshit. So Lord Krishna left the planet. Maharaj Parikshit was in the womb of his mother. So let's say by the time Maharaj Parikshit was cursed, I'm ignorant of his age, but my imagination is probably 40. I don't know. Like between 30 and 100 years, something like that. And Srini, who cursed Maharaj Parikshit, started the degradation of the Brahman's class of people. So it's right after Lord Krishna left the planet that the Brahman, and when the Brahman class is corrupted and degraded, then the rest of the society follow. And Prabhupada's gift is that he had a vision to create a new class of Brahmins through his Krishna consciousness movement, to training us. And even so, I can see myself, I don't have any Brahmanical qualities. I don't have the basic cleanliness or austerity or sacrifice, all that. Still, like everything is relative. So in comparison to the rest of the population of the world, then any devotee of Krishna is elevated in their way of living, a lot more, less damaging to the earth, respectful, mild, understanding, all those qualities that manifest in the art, the 26 qualities of a devotee that are manifested in the art of a devotee. So yes, so between the time Krishna left the planet, Lord Chaitanya came. Of course, in Krishna's time, is just, I forgot something like that. But for us, is 4,500 years. So, Dear Govinda, you have something to say about that?
Me, just one comment before I get into my thing, but yeah, so I think probably the people at the end of Kali Yuga, they're so oppressed and so living under the whip, like the slaves, beaten, raped, starved. They probably just get some helpless humility out of that, maybe. But also I'm recognizing like what you're saying about this, the qualification of feeling unqualified. And I can recognize there in myself, I can see that there's some, like, it's almost like a grungy racket there. Like somehow it seems like there is like an attachment there, in the attachment for feeling helpless. Somewhere in there is some glimmer of innocence or some glimmer of humility, and and how this not wanting to go into being aggressive and wanting to attack people and stuff like that, like the kings that Kalki comes to kill, they're oppressing other people, and so yeah, in myself I can see it's some sort of grungy racket to be attached to helplessness, because there is some little naivety, some little innocence there, shadow of it, or I don't know. So, but then how to process that, the feeling unqualified, and actually stand up and do what has to be done in life. You know, it's like kind of a jump to move up into goodness, but it's kind of like a subtle difference, like how to feel you know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, like he sort of like these great souls, like they feel unqualified, but they're really potent people, like out there doing amazing things, you know. So.
Yeah, I appreciate your point. Like sometimes, you know, we can be in a place of grungy. Grungy usually is tamasic, you know. It's like in nature, and of helplessness or low self-worth, or you know, like that, not feeling valued or whatever. And maybe behind that there is originally that sense of being infinitesimal. Like one qualification in spiritual life is to feel insignificant. And that's really, in that position of feeling insignificant, then there is no fight anymore for anything. Like, I'm just insignificant, I'm not important. And it's like the true side. And on the other side of that, there is a low self-worth and a low like helplessness, helplessness, worthlessness, all that. And what you're saying is that they are perverted reflection of that true sense of humility, true sense of feeling insignificant and small and fallen, which is real humility, not, you know, because we can go into false humility too. Yeah, and then from that place of real humility, feeling insignificant, feeling small, feeling helpless, then there is no need anymore to defend myself. There is no need anymore to prove to the world that, no, I'm important, no, I'm valuable, no, I'm significant. There's no need for that anymore. No, I'm not. And then it's peace. Peace is there. The key to peace is to feel insignificant. The key to peace is to feel like, helpless, powerless, helpless, small, unqualified, and not in a grungy way, like you said. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to share on how, it seems like there's those two extremes of like a grungy guilt, shame that weighs us down and keeps us from really being honest and awakened to our spiritual journey. And then when you're sharing around like how religion will become merely for show or convenience, like I do see how it's very attractive, like a lot of modern spirituality, how it's evolving. It's like it goes to a place of denying responsibility or like rejecting shame and guilt as an experience that can be transformative and essential for our growth and to get to that level of like sincere humility. In relation to that, I want to give a voice to like the part of me that feels terrified and disturbed at witnessing what's maybe like your faith in how you like smile and your eyes light up around talking about like mass genocide of millions of people by sword. You know, it's like, what? And at the same time, in like the context, I try to look at it in the context of non-duality, and that God is always doing things for the sake of our innermost fulfillment and enjoyment and love. And yeah, I notice in me, like Kalki Avatar, that specific function, like if I look at it superficially, it triggers one of my biggest, like, am I being a weird, like, religious fanatic? Because it's so mirrored in so many scriptures and traditions. This notion of like, we're the chosen ones, we'll be saved, God's gonna come, there's gonna be this rapture or something, all ye will be smited, and like, I'll be saved. And but then like looking at it really in the broader context of Vedanta, and in the understanding of God as truly benevolent, and the understanding of reincarnation, the reality of like these dead decorated bodies walking around.
Yes.
I think you enjoyed that as much as I did. Like I really see that. I see that in myself often. I see it, you know, if I look at the political discourse of today, like really, it's like decorating this false ego. It's like I'm becoming more and more trapped in that. Like I can see how like humanity just becomes more and more trapped and disconnected and loses themselves to the point where God like has to come and just like free us from like becoming so lost. And that, yeah, we can use like chastise and punish, but ultimately, like for me, it's helpful to look at it as like, he's like releasing us from this cycle of becoming so dead to ourselves, so disconnected. Yeah, and when you share around like, you know, those that have maintained a level of spirituality and goodness, they will repopulate. So like, yeah, it's like I can speculate that they're repopulating with those souls that have been just liberated by Kalki. You know, he's like Krishna's directly freeing these souls to take a birth that is more conducive for their spiritual well-being. So yeah, it's just helpful for me.
It's helpful for you to see the bigger picture, like on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Like millions of people were killed, and then but then they said they were all liberated. So to see like Kalki, okay, we can see it on a flesh level, and on a flesh level it's so unfair. Those people are chosen, those people are killed, but the soul is never killed. The soul is not killed. The soul is really suffering. Imagine the soul in a body of a plunderer that's godless, that doesn't ever have any topic about Krishna or God, and will just live from oppressing others. What a painful situation to be in. And so Krishna, out of his mercy, he comes and he frees those souls from the accumulation of millions and millions of lifetimes of sinful activities that led them there. And all of a sudden, the whole karma is freed up because Kalki himself, Lord himself, come to kill them. So when you see from that perspective, then you can see, yeah, it is a mercy. There is mercy there. And why we want, you know, it's like a zombie movies. It's like a decoration of the dead body. Why will the Lord let the whole world be populated by zombies? And not fulfilling really Krishna's desire. Krishna's desire is to enjoy us. He wants to enjoy us, but when we forget Krishna so much that we become zombies, dead bodies, just moving around and doing crazy things that are so painful for the soul to be living through, then Lord Nishingadev, Lord Nishingadev, he killed in Anyakajipu, and he killed the whole army. There are thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people right there too. So you can see the Lord is all merciful and is compassionate towards those souls that are stuck in that machine of the material energy, and they have no chance. There's no chance for the soul to liberate themselves by themselves. That's where they are at. It's finished. the free will is covered as much as it's covered with animal species.
Mhm.
Thank you for your comment. I appreciate you bringing that to
A point of interest I shared with you yesterday, Malini. So you used this term Armageddon, and I think it was Bhakti Briel asked about it. So Armageddon actually means Har Megiddo. Har is mountain in Hebrew, and Megiddo is a place. I think it's in the northern part of Israel. So it's like mountain or a big hill, and it's a place one can actually drive to, and you see signs. Armageddon, 3 kilometers to the left. Har Megiddo. It means the hill or the mountain of Megiddo, which is an actual place in Israel that one can go to, where the book of Revelation says the beginning of the end of the world will take place. Hare Krishna.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Yes, Damayanti Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to mention, to say out loud that the word, the concept of godlessness, or the word godlessness, is like popping out a lot from I hear from Srila Prabhupada and in reading, and it came again today, and it's like, for me, I don't know, just like, I feel like it's just like I'm starting to have the realization of how much I've been conditioned. I have the conditioning of godlessness, and it feels like it just feels like this is what's a question that I had is like like admitting that I'm godless and unqualified and have these lower tastes, and like admitting that is like so liberating and just relieving. Like it's so peaceful just to be honest. And at the same time, it's like simultaneously, not exactly like after I have all those realizations of my conditioning, but like simultaneously I'm discovering my true powerful qualities. And it's like an interesting like path to walk, or like admitting how like low I am and acknowledging how wonderful I am, you know, like the soul, like this, or like,
Yeah.
it's just like interesting.
Dichotomy, it's like the humility, you know, the humility is not low self-worth. And in humility, yeah, I will say, I'm powerful. I have ability to do this and this for Krishna. And it takes the path to that is to really feel myself fallen, understand my shortcoming, understand how unqualified I am. The Bible says truthfulness, the truth will set you free. So you feel that freedom. Like, okay, I'm really attracted to, you know, like spacing out. I'm attracted to tamasic moments. I'm not attracted to be godless. Godly.
Yeah.
I'm not attracted to the topic of conversation. What's that said in verse? No, when where there exists no topics on the subject of God, you know, just like so hard to keep the topics on the subject of God. So all the moments I see myself, all the moments where there is no topic of God in my speech or in my mind, and to be truthful about that, and the truth will set us free, and truthfulness is the last leg of religion. To that truthfulness, and that's what we see in the bhajan of the pure devotees. Just our qualification, the qualification to surrender to Krishna is to really feel unqualified, to feel fallen and unqualified. And when we really feel that way, in humility, not in low self-worth, not in the grungy way like Bhaktakis was pointing out, then that's our tickets to freedom. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Damayanti.
Very dynamic.
Very dynamic. Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm so godless. Like, oh, but look at this other quality. Like, I don't know, just there's
It-
so many, so much conditioning, and there's so many positive qualities, and it's all like contained in me, like all the conditioning, and then all like, and then the soul's there to discover.
Yeah.
It's like really, there's a lot to
There's a lot to
a
discover.
lot to sift through. Like, what is this? What's the reality?
Yeah. Like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's the one who said like, you know, like he's lower than a worm in stool. Well, you know, it's pretty low. Worm in stools, they're not attractive, they're in stool. So, you know, that's how he feels. He really truly feels lower than a worm in stool. And at the same time, at the end of every chapter of Chaitanya, he said, I, Krishnadas Kaviraj, have been, you know, he has been given that service of writing the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in a sense, it could be almost arrogant to hear that. But
What?
almost arrogant to hear that oh, you know, I'm being given the service of writing this big voluminous narration of the biography of the Lord. Yeah, so that we can see that in Krishnadas Kaviraj right there, that dichotomy that you're speaking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't grasp it. I still feel like I don't get it, but I can just a little bit maybe.
Yeah.
It's far off.
Yeah, and reading Bhaktivinoda Thakur's bhajan, so much of him realizing how I've uselessly used my life. I have spent so much time in sinful activity and associating with mind, like worldly people, all that. Hare Krishna, Ramachandra Prabhu and Brielle. You will send it to the question to our group, okay?
I have to go because of work.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna. May I also say something, even though it's a little late?
Please, Ladini Shakti Prabhu.
Thank you. I'm thinking through all this conversation about true and false humility. So I'm thinking that the true humility is the quality of the heart. And then all this like grasping it with the mind is more like the mind is mostly material, or my mind is definitely only material. So like the mind trying to figure out what does the true humility means will probably not really land in true humility. Yeah, so that's what I'm just thinking, it's a quality of the heart.
Of myself, I need to look humble, it's not going to work because it's a quality of the soul. And
yeah, or like how should I adjust my thinking in order to be humble?
If I adjust my thinking in order to look humble and be humble, then probably I will land in something called false humility. Yes, exactly. So like the acharyas, they are showing us like, yeah, it's truly feeling fallen. Not, oh, I need to feel fallen. It's like truly feeling fallen, truly deeply feeling fallen. And then in that truly feeling fallen, there is no need to want to feel humble. Just the need to feel, to want to be humble is not truly feeling fallen.
Yes. And also,
we can play with our mind, you know, in so many layers of that.
Yes, right. So it can just like you shared, I like what you shared, like it shouldn't be that difficult to like look at our position and situation and look at my mind, like just like look at it as it is. It shouldn't be that difficult, but somehow it is.
It shouldn't be difficult in Kali Yoga to be humble, but it seems that in Kali Yoga it's the most difficult to be humble, which is interesting. Anything else? Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you for being here today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Malini. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Kim, for being here.
Malini,
Yes.
are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I tried to. I tried to get in a few times, but there were so many interesting comments. I want to thank you for the class. It was so interesting. I do hope you do a part 2. Can I ask a question, or is it way too late for that?
I'm good.